Okay, today we're going to do a book summary on The Confession based on a true story by Christian Pistis. And we're going to do something interesting. I'm going to compare my summary to the AI summary, AI chatbot, and I'm going to give it credit for. I asked permission to do it, and it said I could. So as long as I give them credit for the yeah, there's a picture of our conversation, and down here it says that yeah, I can. It doesn't care as long as I make uh, give credit to Codeway for the AI. So the confession. Here's the AI's summary of the confession. First of all, it couldn't find it, even though it's sold on Amazon.com. Uh, which I suspect is because it's probably shadow banned because of the topic. But anyway, this when I finally gave it the link to find it, this is what it said. Thank you for providing the link. The Confession by Christian Pistis is a religious book that explores the importance of confessing one's sins and receiving forgiveness. The book draws on biblical teachings, personal anecdotes, and insights from the author's own experiences to help readers understand the transformative power of confession. The book is divided into three parts, with the first part focusing on the biblical basis for confession and the role it plays in the Christian faith. The second part delves into the various obstacles that can prevent people from confessing their sins, such as shame, fear, and pride. The third and final part of the book offers practical advice on how to make a confession, including tips on how to prepare mentally and emotionally, how to choose a confessor, and what to expect during the confession process. Overall, The Confession is a thoughtful and insightful book that encourages readers to confront their mistakes and seek reconciliation with God and others through the act of confessing their sins. I thought that was a very well thought out and executed summary. Um, Full disclaimer, I do get some income from the sale of this book. I know the author, and I promote it. But let's look at the summary on the back of the book, and then I'll give my own summary from my own reading of it. Based on a true story, author Christian Pistis gives readers the story of a young boy who is first molested by a family relative and soon becomes obsessed with sex and pornography. His obsessions eventually lead to many issues over time. After his social development is influenced in a variety of detrimental ways. After stints in therapy and a repeated experience of abuse by a trusted friend, Chester turns to the one true relief, the ultimate solution, God. After a lifelong struggle with warped sexual desires, Chester fights to find and hold on to true love, love that includes a balanced and healthy sex life. Pistis challenges professionals and readers to see things from the perspective of the victim and the victimizer, in order to return to a healthier mindset that will help prevent this plague on society from continuing to spread. Confession serves to restore dignity. Sorry about the sound of this dog drinking. This is a very old dog. She's pretty loud. Anyway, the confession serves to restore dignity to a shred of humanity to someone who probably hasn't felt that in the eyes of the general public for a long time. Let it provoke empathy and understanding. Choose, like Chester, to be a positive force. Honor God, yourself, and your fellow man. So, and this is published by Palmetto Publishing Group in Charleston, South Carolina. All right, so that was the publisher's summary. Now, I read the book a couple of times because I have some similar experiences that are in the book. And for me, the story was really about somebody who had experienced trauma like it was described. And after a few failed relationships, finally decided to get some therapy. And in the process of his therapy, he came up with a therapist with an idea of writing his own story, but in the third person, fictional, true story, but fictional, so that he would feel comfortable exploring his thoughts and feelings about what he went through, and not only viewing it from his own personal perspective, but also trying to comprehend and understand why this was done to him. Because that's a question for a lot of victims. Why do these things happen to us? Why do people do these things? And so that's what he did. He wrote a book, putting himself in the mindset of somebody who is at the end of their life and who had been a child molester and was trying to confess his sins before he died, to try to relieve his conscience and help prevent that from continuing to happen to other people. And so at the end of the book, of course, the author comes clean and explains what this is all about. And I'm not going to give it all away what happens, but it's pretty. It's kind of a brutal read at times. Other times it's very very interesting. And he does some quotes on studies of how often this really happens. Of course, it's written by a layman, so it's not. I'm not sure you consider it professional, literary material, but it's definitely interesting and thought provoking. And it does give a lot of tips on how to prevent these things from happening. Incidentally, most of these types of incidents happen with family members in their own families, and even in the sex trade that's going on today with minors, a lot of these situations are family members selling their own children, which is really sad and disturbing. But anyway, I do recommend this book because it brings awareness to stuff that's still happening and is really kind of a pandemic going on today in the world, a negative social pandemic that people should be aware of and protect their families and loved ones against. And it gives really interesting insights on how to process and therapeutically work through some of the issues for people who have experienced this victimization and some of the things that they have to go through in order to get healthy. One of the most interesting things he talks about is how much he wants to recapture the innocence of childhood before this happened, and make and to feel normal again. So that was very impactful. So I hope you get the book. It's on Amazon. It's cheap. It's really cheap, especially if you get the electric one. But yeah, it's a good book. I'm going to start trying to do this more often. Compare my readings of books with what AI summary. I thought the AI summary was very good too, because that is what the book is about, really. But it doesn't get to the very personal part, the drama of the book. So anyway, pray for me, a sinner. God bless. Over and out.